Hey everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel. As always, I'm Sum.
And I'm Koaty, and this is Koaty Sum, and we are the duo who does more than each other.
So we're kind of both have a little raspiness in our voice right now. We're both kind of feeling a little under the weather.
I feel like everyone's sick right now.
I think everyone got sick. Last weekend was LA Pride, so I think a lot of people, we didn't even we did. We went out one night really hard, but I don't know. So we're feeling a little under the weather, but we're back to do a House of Heat recap.
For episode 3.
Episode 3 came out. So,
and we're talking about being sick. And my first note here is how I wanted to mention how I remember like the moment when we're filming this episode, how sick we were of hearing about the Chase, Ava, Jade, conflict, like everyone else in the house. We just were so over it.
Yeah, we were over it.
We were done hearing about it. We just wanted to talk about something else. We wanted to do something else.
It should stay hydrated. Have a White Claw.
Fine.
That's all we were doing was drinking White Claws, and we were making content every day. But this was a constant big discussion, was the stuff going on between Ava and Chase. But hold on, I'm gonna have a sip. Chase was really alienating himself and being rude to multiple people in the house and really not trying and being really standoffish. So,
that's on my list too. His whole friends watching it and stuff are like, oh, it just seems like Chase is mostly with Jade. He doesn't really seem like he has tried to get to know anyone else in the house. Is that kind of how it was? And my answer is no, he didn't, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't get to know him at all. No, he completely just acted the whole time like he didn't want to be there. And anytime Ava and him would have a slight little bit of outburst, he would leave the house, which we weren't supposed to do.
Honestly, and that's, kind of why we kind of did have Ava's back a little bit, even though we thought she was being a little too aggressive with him at first. But we kind of just let her do it because he acted like he didn't want to be there. He wasn't really trying to get to know anybody. And when people would try to approach him and talk, he just, I don't know, was closed off. It was just the most bizarre kind of thing for me.
Yeah. But by the end of episode 3, which you'll see that the whole dinner thing, I was completely not for Chase at all at that point. And we'll talk about that. But with the whole interaction with those so-called friends, I was done. We were done with him. I was done. I was going to live in a house with him, but I was done.
Yeah. So I remember us saying we're done trying.
Yeah.
Because at this point we were so close to Steph and Brandon and Ava and Vinny. Yeah. And even at this point getting closer to Fosh. So it was just okay, well, if you're not going to, we're only going to give you what you're giving us. And he wasn't really giving us much. So.
Yeah. And we, on top of that, we had content to make every day, which they didn't really show in this episode. But, we make a YouTube every week. So we did that at the house. We were making Instagram reels every day. We were making some OnlyFans content. We were,
pictures,
doing custom content for OnlyFans and pictures. So that's some of the stuff that you don't see. So we're busy.
Yeah, we're busy. And I'm still doing engineering work. So we're busy from the second we get up till we go to bed, honestly. I kind of wanted to touch, how Jade is oh, I'm not dating men right now. I have 2 months or whatever. And she's in the car and she's I'm going on a date, but it's really not a date because I'm not supposed to be dating. Even, this, a big pet peeve of mine is people putting those restrictions on themselves.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? Why are you telling me? Am I supposed to, if I see you date, am I supposed to call you out and be no, you're not supposed to do that. That's not my job. I also don't care.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're not dating. Nobody cares that you are dating. Nobody cares. So just tell yourself in your head, or I don't really get it.
Because then you look foolish in this kind of scenario where, okay, but you're going on a date even though you swore off men. But if you just had never said that, and maybe that was something that you mentally, wanted to be a little more closed off and focus on yourself, great.
Or 2, you're playing a game and you like to tell men that so that they chase you.
But he was a dick to her on that so-called date.
Yeah, so let's talk about the date.
Yeah.
They go to the pier for some Burger King.
Yeah. It was an influencer thing that his manager set up. So he told her that in the bed. He said, I got this Burger King event I got to go to. You're more than welcome to come. So,
well, what's also bullshit? If in the house, if Steph had something like that, if we had something like that, Ava and Vinny, we'd invite the whole house.
Yeah.
Why weren't we invited? Just seeing stuff that we didn't live.
Yeah.
It's okay. My feelings that are starting to arise of this person are validated by
Yeah.
watching these episodes, honestly.
And the way he treated her on that, you know, he talks down to her. He even he's very dismissive of her. That's what it is. He walks in front of her, like 10 feet in front of her. He makes fun of her and talks down to her about like when they're leaving and having to call a car that she's too messed up.
Yeah.
Like he's rude to her.
Yeah, very rude to her, you know, and then, but the whole other thing is, you know, he was walking in front of her, but then with his little posse or gang, and Jade's like mad that he brought other people on this date, but you just said it wasn't a date.
From the beginning, you see that Madison is just a rude person. That's how that all played out. So
Very rude in the date that they went on, like Jade and Chase did that shot thing, and she said, "That's so dumb." Like, did she say that like out loud? Like
it was
to
unnecessary.
her face? It was
bizarre. Yeah, it was unnecessary for someone you don't know, and clearly they're just kind of in their cute little moment. But you know, and then you see them come home and they talk about it, and you see us all playing all this while this is all going on. This is like day 5 of even.
We're actually at a bar, the rest of us.
Yeah, we were at a bar.
Yeah,
we all went to a bar,
bonding together.
Yeah, the rest of the house, they wanted us to have some time together outside of the house, so we went to a bar and. Near the house and just like had fun, had shots. And then we all got home around the same time. That's why they're in the kitchen talking about it. And we're like at the table playing cards. And so a lot of what you don't see around that first week is Ava, Vinny, you and I were hanging out and talking a lot and having lots of conversations. So that's why it was hard to, you know, while Ava might appear aggressive, like we were bonding and getting so close to them during this time.
And like, we understood her feelings more deeply about the situation
than anyone else in the house.
But then they're showing as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's only tipping the surface.
And Brandon was trying to play, you can see at this time, Brandon was trying to play like Switzerland and try to just mediate. And you could see how emotionally exhausting it was getting for him. And he, I think more so, like other than Jade, was trying to get close with Chase, and he wasn't giving him really the time of day either.
And then the next day, you know, you see us talking to Ava and Vinny kind of about opening up the relationship or if they would ever open up the relationship. And the thing I love finally about this scene is that, you know, I felt like it's not really portraying how close we were with those two and how much we love them and how like strong our friendship was at this point.
Yeah.
And this is the scene that finally kind of showed that a little bit.
Excuse me. Yes.
So I did appreciate that. I also really liked Michael.
I was a little hungover from being at the bar the night before, but it was a great conversation.
Yeah, I definitely looked tired.
We had lots of conversations like that, just talking.
Yeah.
You know, they're just so open, and you know, clearly Ava loves to talk about sex, and we were very open about talking about that stuff. So we had a lot. That's why I think we gravitated towards each other, because we just were very open people about, and we're very sex positive.
Yeah. And also you realize we're filmed 24/7, and you're seeing Ava talk about sex and Chase and all that stuff a lot, but we had so many more conversations that didn't involve that stuff too. Like we had good conversations about other stuff as well.
So we're literally this Boa night, Grimsburg thing. This is day 7 of the first, you know, like we're barely scratching the surface of what you're about to see in this season.
Before we talk about the Grimsburg Boa stuff, you know, just kind of about the Ava and Vinny at the grill.
Oh yeah, the grill.
That was I will tell you, Ava's ideas for her POV videos are very creative.
Yes,
and she comes up with them very quickly. Well, we knew they were going to do it, and then we heard about it afterwards, and that it like Vinny couldn't stay hard, and then that's kind of it. But it was really funny to watch it.
I mean, I'm used to, you know, having cameras in my face for doing studio, but for Vinny, that would have been the first time for him really like, they're doing a POV, but all the cameras like that, even though they're not filming to produce it, they're still there. There's people there. So that had to been an interesting experience for him.
That night is when we did the whole Hulu Grimsburg event, like haunted house thing. Yeah. And that's where the rest of the house finally meets all of these Chase's friends, in quotes, because, you know, I heard he only met Madison like the week before. So we met these people and, well, no, let me take that back. We didn't meet these people. These people were standing there when we got there, and like no one introduced them to us.
Yeah, no one
like,
introduced.
Chase didn't introduce them to us. Like
I didn't know who they were or how they were there or why
nobody
they were there.
introduced themselves. Nobody came up to us and like introduced themselves. And we were like, we honestly, it was at the point where I'm like, are we supposed to be with these people? Because if I didn't even know if we were supposed to be with those people or they were just a separate group that was there at the same time.
Yeah.
Because if I knew they were going to be with us and like come to dinner with us, like I would have introduced myself right away. But then by the time I knew that they were like hanging out with us, it was dinner and it just felt awkward.
It did. It felt very awkward from the beginning. I've gotten a lot of questions on this, like, why did he get to have a group there? Like, why was this dinner all orchestrated? So what happened was Chase's manager, that was the Grimsburg event, like he organized that for us to promote that show. So since Chase's manager organized it, they had their friend posse. That's why they were there. And then Chase's manager organized us being able to go to BOA and set that all up. So that's why, because I'm like, we live in LA and we have influencer friends. We could have brought people too.
Tons of people. When we would have brought friends who were a little more respectful
and
to
also
our housemates.
Fun. Like those people they
weren't
stood there.
Fun.
They stood there and thought they were so hot. And
oh God, it was so cringy.
So
just even looking at them for a second, I was just like, who do these people think they are?
Yeah.
You know, it was the weirdest shit.
And then finding out what Madison like did to Steph, and she can't even go into super details on the show, but knowing like that girl is bad news. And they were in their corner whispering like the whole time.
Yeah, you could.
That's why Steph went off, because like they were not just sitting there all calm and cordial. Like they were.
It kind of looked like
time.
Steph just went off out of nowhere. But honestly, even at Grimsburg, they were just like looking at us and talking about us, and it was just. I even heard somebody say at some point like, "Oh wow, we should have been cast as the cast or something." And I was like, bitch, you are a grown-ass man with cystic acne. Get out of here. You're not. I even said that. I was like, you are not getting put on no show. Get out of here.
Yeah, so that whole thing. Oh, and so and then what you don't see, and this, I know this upsets Cody a lot, is that when the Steph thing happened, we had gone to get a drink at the bar, so we were getting close to Steph, and so it looks like we just don't say anything.
Yeah, we weren't there.
We weren't there. So we went to get a drink at the bar. We were actually talking to Nate.
It's my biggest regret of the whole season is not being there for that, because I would have like went off and had her back.
Yeah. And we were at the bar talking to Nate, having a good that's when I say we had some good conversations with Nate.
Yeah.
And so that was where we were. And by this point, we were so hungry. I was hungover.
We were there for hours.
We were there for hours.
And we're not fed.
I was so tired that I just did not have the energy to like, at this point, like I said, it's still week 1. I'm kind of still in observer mode. Ava came in like ready to rumble. Yeah. I came in observing more first. But so we did all decide to leave and go to Madre, but our Uber had the wrong address.
Our Uber was taking us back to the house.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who noticed it.
Yeah.
And I said, wait, where are we going? Like Madre was not far from this restaurant. And we must have been halfway home.
Right.
When I noticed.
So what happened was Chase saw that we weren't there and was like, well, I'll just call my friends there or something.
So
Chase's friends are all there before we get there.
Already eating and drinking and laughing and whatever.
And just talking smack. And at this point, like I didn't come in to fight. I just wanted to hang out with our housemates that we were getting to know. And have like it was like an end of the first week dinner, like an end of the first week celebration that we had like made it through the first week of filming, had a good time, and they just completely tarnished that.
Yeah, and we went into this thinking we were just like it was going to be a house thing, and Chase and Jade were going to be there, and it was just an opportunity for us all to finally connect with those two as well.
Yeah.
And all these people came up and they were very disrespectful. And like, we could hear, they were turning back at us, like saying shit. Like we could hear them.
For no reason. We had not done anything to
obviously, they were trying to get on TV.
Yeah. They were trying to have a moment.
It was obvious. They're trying to have a moment and fine, snag your 15 minutes of fame, girl. Yeah. You do it. Like, I'm like proud of you. But you don't look good.
I think they all came across as just trash human beings.
I feel like some of them are on Netflix shows, and I heard someone say like all the Netflix
rejects.
And I was like, oh.
So yeah, at this point, at the end of episode 3, I'm done with Chase. And the fact that Jade went back out with him, I lost all respect for her, because they had all been mean to her and she wasn't happy, and then she still went out with him. And so at this point, we all go back and talk about it, and we decide we're just done.
I will say, Ava and I, once Brandon stormed out and you and Fosh chased him, Ava and Vinny and I actually were like getting loud with them at the other table, and they didn't show any of that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
actually, I left that dinner thinking, oh, that's the first time on the show I'm actually like getting loud.
Yeah.
And they still make me look like I'm a quiet little angel, but
You are.
whatever.
You're an
That's going
angel.
to change probably.
But they did eat our food. I had a couple people be like, wait, so did that all really happen?
So we sat there the whole
That
time.
did all really happen. Like they were there before we got there. We did have to leave Boa. We were trying to get away from them. They did eat our food. We were so fed up we had to go.
So after that whole night, we got home and we ate McDonald's.
Yeah, I think we ordered
Taco Bell.
something like that. We just ordered a bunch of food.
That was our dinner.
Let us know in the comments. Are you at this point? Are you Team Ava or Team Chase?
Or are you team, let's just end it?
Yeah,
That's where I was at this point.
Yeah, at this point. So we'll see what happens next week. I mean, you saw the preview, so
yeah, we're excited.
Just wait.
We're about to clock in.
We'll be back next week.